Yep.
Hello.
Amy's a little bit
Testing.
a bit better than me
Yeah.
somehow.
Is that good?
Hi, I'm John Stockdyke here at XeroCon with Xero's Head of Learning, Amy Vesser. Amy, you published an article on accountingweb.com, our sister site in the States, all about how technology can help women break through the glass ceiling. How strong a part of Xero's actual marketing approach is that concept?
Well, I feel very strongly about this being an avenue for women to really break through and create new career paths for women accountants. So it actually was that for me in my practice, where it may, seem like this is about technology, but at the end of the day, it's about personal relationships, and the technology actually just enables that personal relationship. And who better than women to have this type of collaborative relationships and really trying to understand the business owner, their needs. And, I really liken client accounting services and the cloud world is back to when doctors made home visits. So, it was very personalized. They knew your family. They knew what other things were going on that might have caused different issues and so forth. The way accounting has gone over the years, it's driven into a very compliance driven business. And the problem with that is that the small businesses really need the help. And so what Cloud and Xero and all of our add-ons really enable our accountants to do is to take out some of the manual data entry that clients don't always value. Because at the end of the day, a profit and loss statement or a balance sheet is what they can get from anybody, they think. So we know the work that it takes, but the clients don't necessarily understand that. They just know that's what they need in order to file their tax returns and so forth. However, with cloud accounting, with technology, it enables that relationship to go a little bit further and actually have the conversations that you need. And so what can be daunting that I think, in the article that I wrote, is men more easily will go and try the new gadgets and, pick up the new app or the newest phone and newest tablet and so forth. And women don't necessarily have that same inkling, naturally. And so I think just the view of it needs to shift a little bit, that really you can stand out in this industry because there isn't as many women in it. And by trying out some of these technologies that aren't daunting at all, once you put them together and get a process in place, you're actually going to be able to deliver a very personal relationship with the small business that they really need.
And from your global perspective, so you're covering down under the North America and the British markets. Are there characteristics you can identify of some of these sort of innovative women-powered firms?
Yeah, so they're go-getters. They are. They definitely see the opportunity. They are out in the forefront, not necessarily always the traditional accountant. They sometimes aren't even originally accountants. So we've got people that, have the design flair and they want to go out and, help designers. And then this technology has been able to help with where it starts with the accounting, but you end up about business process and you end up how to really keep people that go into business that don't realize all the accounting that they're going to have to keep up with and the cash flow issues, where you can actually help those businesses stay in business, which is huge. So I definitely see there is more of an outgoing woman probably that have come as early adopters that can see where they can break through in different industries, but that shouldn't deter other women that have been in traditional roles. And I think some of the best backgrounds to get into client accounting services are actually auditors, because they're used to the interpersonal relationships of having to go out to clients, find the things that aren't operating correctly. And when you're an auditor, that audit report isn't what someone wants to see. However, you've been trained really well to be a consultant and you didn't realize it. So taking those same skills as a consultant and actually being able to transform a small business that is going to pay you to do that work can be really eye-opening from moving into, from a traditional practice into client accounting. And then it also gives those women accountants, and it did me, opportunities to rise to a partnership level that you might not have had, because everybody might be an auditor, everybody might be in tax, where you can really differentiate yourself into a new industry line.
I mean, I was sitting with the ladies from Mint Accounting last night when they won their prize for the Scottish Partner of the Year, and when I sort of look at some of the people we've found to Accounting Web, Kinder Pocock and Pilar May, it always seems to be women who particularly around the point of coming back into the profession after having their kids, just not being satisfied with the status quo, and so they seem to have founded firms and really seem to be I would almost hazard seem to be threatening to take over the profession almost. Do you see that in other countries?
Yeah, well, what I find interesting, yesterday was Karen Brady, which I thought she made a great comment about women, that there's not a board fairy to put women on a board, you just put them on a board. And I still think, as far as women have come in, being equals with men in work and occupation, there's still a lot fewer women in leadership roles, and especially in accounting firms, than in other areas possibly, because it is a more traditional service line, and there are still ways to box women out of relationships, even if it's not apparent. So I do think women are finding creative ways to be able to balance that work-life balance with children and so forth, but still fulfill the goals that they have. And that's always the hardest struggle, of making sure you still feel like a good mom, but that you had aspirations too, and how do you fulfill those aspirations? And if a traditional accounting firm isn't going to open their eyes to these new opportunities with technology, this is really a huge opportunity for a woman to be able to start a practice like this and be able to really have it all.
Thanks. Just to change track now, back to the sort of more educational role, we covered the sort of burgeoning add-on market recent on Accounting Web, and that's really our mission at XeroCon, is partly to try and find out more about what all these different tools do. What advice would you give to British accountants about how you orient yourself to the landscape and begin to identify the apps that match your information needs and your clients' needs? Any advice you can help us with there?
Yeah, so first you have to define what you need in your business. So in general, accountants are really bad at stepping back from their business and taking the time to really assess the processes they have. So we spend all day giving advice to clients about things that they need to do in their business, and we don't look in our own homes and see how things need to operate more efficiently. So I would say first, you need to do your own audit of your business. Actually sit down, watch what people are doing, see where the duplicate data entry is, listen to your staff. They know where the problems are. So I do business planning with a lot of firms, and what's always interesting is we send this pre-survey before the session, and there's questions on there of how the partners feel that the business is doing, and if they're creative enough, and their answers and the staff answers are diabolically different. So it's really important to get a real feel for what's going on in your business. Then once you've kind of assessed what the business processes look like, where are the key areas for improvement, then you can hone down to what add-ons you actually need in your business to help automate it. And many of the firms that I've worked with, they've identified there's probably 3 or 4 areas, whether they've decided in a vertical niche area or they want to be a virtual CFO and there's add-ons to help you with being a virtual CFO, or in order to just get the process right with small businesses, you need to automate the bill payment process or receiving payments and so forth. So I think if you take it on all at once, it's too much. So what you need to do is have a plan for the different things you need to do and replace one system at a time, test it, make sure it's working. You might find that there's other needs before you move on to the next system, but as you start creating those efficiencies, it will help you in understanding what you need to look for. The second thing I would say is you really need to come in prepared with your pain points. Don't let the sale from any software company lead you. So have a list of requirements. What are your priorities? What are the biggest pain points? What are your non-negotiables? So if the software does not have, 1, 2, and 3, you can't select it. And know that walking in the conversation so you can get what you need.
Thank you, Amy.